Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success Talk Show. You know who it is. It is your queen, your Slay Queen, Rochelle Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. Everyone knows as they come into this space, Slay to Success means to stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, a sense of family, and you are built to last. And we also know what the word means. All right. It means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. And so I support women professionals to achieve success by working with them on their image and impact. And we are focusing on appearance, behaviors, communication skills, and digital presence because at the end of the day, what we all want to have are lucrative opportunities to showcase our skills, our gifts, our talents, because we all know as women professionals, we got it going on. All right. We have been leading, we have been taking care of things, we have been looking at harmony, our wellness. And so tonight, y'all, I have a special guest. That is here with me tonight that we're going to be talking about a lot of things. Okay. So if you're not ready, I would highly suggest that you get yourself ready. All right. I've got my cup. Okay. My beverage of choice today is Crystal Light. That's right, because it's hot as all get out here in the DMV. It's probably about 100 degrees. So wherever you're at, it's probably hot. So I've got my Crystal Light in my Slay cup. All right. So whatever you need, if you need tea, coffee, whiskey, whatever it is, if you need a little shot, go get it. Make sure that you are sharing and you are subscribing. And then when you come on in here on the live show, make sure you put down a comment. Share with us where you are tuning in from, your name, and all those great things, okay? Because we want to make sure that we acknowledge that you could be spending your time anywhere else, but you decided tonight that you wanted to be here for about an hour where we're going to be talking about personal branding, leadership, wellness, mindset, and a business, all right? Because that's what we're doing in the next phase of our chapter, all right? So tonight, my special guest, all right, special guest, all right, and she is someone that I was connected through another woman who's out there doing some business. And so we said, hey, you know what? We need to really figure out how we are going to work and collaborate together. So this is our first introduction of us doing this partnership. Her name is Malaysia Harrell. She is a spiritual transformation coach, a veteran, a speaker, and an author who helps women find freedom and fulfillment. But really, she is a healer, an unleasher, and a light that leads women back to their true selves so they can live fully and finally. As a licensed psychotherapist and board certified clinical social worker, Malaysia blends clinical expertise, spiritual wisdom, and intuitive guidance to help women overcome their past trauma, heal their hurts, and define their vision for their lives. Her incomparable coaching guides clients on an intimate, insightful journey to break free from limiting beliefs and expectations and discover lives of authenticity, purpose, and bliss. Extraordinary at walking women through radical transformation, Malaysia is more than her client's coach. She's their champion. So we're going to be talking about all the things that was kind of holding her back and things that she has overcome over her time to where she is right now. But simply put, it is impossible to be in her presence and leave unchanged. Malaysia is here for the women who need to trade the perception of perfection for true freedom and authenticity. She is here for the women who need to reimage who they can be and what they can have. She is here for the women who are here for more than just coaching. She is seeking a powerful partnership with women who are equipped to help her expand and elevate herself to a life that she can only dream about until now. So let me just tell y'all, that sounds all too familiar. It sounds all too familiar. I am attracting the people that need to be in my space, and she is definitely top of the list. So good evening, Charlene. Welcome, my queen, to the Slay to Success Talk Show. I hope you are doing well. We are going to be bringing in our guests, so thank you so much for being here tonight. I miss you. So let me just go ahead and bring her on to the stage. Let's just give her a warm welcome and welcome her to the building. Hello.
Thank you. Hello, Rochelle. Thank you for having me.
Yes. I'm so happy that we were finally connected. All right.
Absolutely.
So, y'all, when you networking, you meet a lot of people, okay? And somebody connects you to somebody. And we were connected through another veteran. And it would just didn't happen until we were at an event a couple of weeks ago. And we didn't really put two and two together until we started to look at, because I asked, hey, you want to let's get you on a podcast. She signed up. And then we're like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So he is working, he
That's
is
right.
on time, and he put us together, and I am so excited to have this conversation with you tonight. So how you feeling? How you doing?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I got to see the work that you're doing so far, and it's just amazing. But I just want your guests to know that actually I did not know, I didn't know you, but when I saw you and I saw your energy and your spirit, and you were slaying, you were dressed. It didn't even feel like you were dressed for that event. It felt because nobody else was on that level. So I said, oh no, I have to know her.
Girl, look, any opportunity I get to step out and
Yes,
really showcase, I'm
yes.
doing it. And Charlene and I have met before, and we met downtown DC, and she's from New York. And she said, girl, where are you going? I said, I showed up. Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to show up and just give it to the people. So yes, I love to do that. And I was so happy that we were able to meet and just really
Yes.
get to, and now we're getting to get to really know each other. Okay.
Yes. First time.
Yes. Good evening, Leslie. Thank you so much, Madame, for coming in on tonight's show live. I am so happy that you are here as well. So we're going to have a really great conversation. So I know y'all have a lot to share when we come to this conversation. So please dive on in, put the comments in, share, invite folks, come on in so we can have a really juicy conversation tonight. Okay, so Malaysia, just tell the people a little bit about yourself, kind of like maybe a little bit before you went into the military,
Mhm.
got into the military, and kind of where you're at right now.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Of course, at before the military, I was really trying to find my way.
Mhm.
I knew that I wanted to, do something in the mental health arena. And so when it came to, selecting a role, right, or a
Mhm.
calling, I knew I wanted to do something with mental health based on, my mom had struggled with mental health and there were a lot of things that happened. So I just wanted to be able to understand a little more. And so originally I started working in the prison system for the state of Connecticut. I thought I would do prison reform and become this
Oh.
counselor and do all these things. And I ended up, I started my master's program for clinical social work at the University of Connecticut. And then I ended up getting engaged and I transferred down to the University of Maryland. So that opened up a whole new repertoire. And 9/11 happened when I was in that last year of school. So I was at my internship at the Baltimore Public Defender's Office. And we literally watched the second, plane go into the World Trade Center. And I used to go there every year with junior ROTC. So I had been up to the top many times. And I felt like I was stripped, of this experience of my childhood, of my safety, of my life. So, like a lot of
Mm.
people, I decided to go into the military after 9/11. And so at that point, my great grandmother was about to pass and she told me, Malaysia, don't just keep getting degrees and getting new jobs. She said, you can get any degree you want, but just keep the same job. So I had narrowed it down to the
Huh.
military or to the FBI. I wanted to do like profiling and all that stuff. And when they told me you had to have a PhD for that and you had to start off like on the beat. I'm like, I'm not going on no beat. I already worked in a prison. I already worked in law enforcement. I'm not doing it. And so, but 9/11 happened. So I knew that day I was going into the military.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm always like interested. I also have a prior client who is in the security. They call it, what do they call it, from the security forces in the civilian world, like law enforcement.
Yeah. Law
So she's been
enforcement.
in law enforcement for over 30 years.
Oh,
And to be able to work in that type of environment, and it almost, and I hate to say this, but there are some parallels with prison systems, legalities with the military. There's
it
there's
is.
there's some parallels there. So I can
There is.
see how you were able, to kind of draw that conclusion from, okay, let this event happen, let me go someplace and do something
Absolutely.
that's impactful, right?
Mhm.
So you get into the military, and then what?
So I started in the United States Air Force, go Air
Uh,
Power.
that's right.
And I loved it. I loved, serving. I did the residency program for clinical social work at Andrews Air Force Base, was a social worker. And you know how it is in the
Mhm.
military, like you have these big ideas of life. And, when you're a provider, I mean, to do these other things, it was very challenging. And I knew that there was some other things that I wanted to do, even to the point where I couldn't be the wing commander's exec because I was a provider. They couldn't take a provider
Uh-huh.
out of hide.
That's right.
And so, but he wanted me, and he also recommended me to be the executive officer for the XO for a 3-star. And so it was like, and I was only a captain. I was only a captain. So at that stage, they knew that there was potential, but
Well,
there's
they did,
always this ceiling.
Malaysia, you know what? When you say that there was a potential, they knew who they had. They wanted to take you out of that element where you were seeing patients every day. And they were
Yeah,
like, no, we need you to be here in the higher senior leadership roles where you can kind of get a glimpse into what it is, that we do. So, that is on you, Queen, because they saw the light. They
thank
saw the light
you.
and was like, you know what, we need you to be up in here, right? And I know I was a medical technician for most of my career. So
Yeah,
I understand the challenges it may be from a medical to the executive offices. They don't
yes,
want to take a provider out of the patient care. So
yeah,
yeah, but I love that.
yeah.
So you get there and they're eyeballing you. Do you get there?
So, well, I moved a couple of bases, and then ultimately that was Hickam, where that was my last duty station in the Air Force. And so I wasn't able to become, an exec. But also there was some trauma that happened in my family. My brother got murdered. And, this was at the height of the war on Afghanistan. And so I had to make a decision at that point because my dad, I mean, he had experienced, a great sense of loss. And he was joking to say, if they ever take you as a prisoner of war, they're going to be begging the president to take you back. Like he was just really trying to keep himself, going. And then, so after that, I made a decision. And at that time, the United States Public Health Service, a lot of officers were transferring because, we would be able to be stable in one place at the time. And I could, fly home to my family in Massachusetts or my sisters in North Carolina. So I decided you do the rest of my career on active duty in the United States Public Health Service. So I went ahead and make the change and I made the transition. So yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. But I know our audience is like they are really enjoying the conversation. I've got Lady T keeping it 100. All right.
Yes.
Yes, Queen. Thank you so much for being here live. And she's tuning in from YouTube. So thank you so much for that. And then of course, Leslie says, thank you for sharing your story. We believe in the power of sharing stories, using our voices being very vulnerable and transparent about our life.
Yeah.
And so, what you are sharing about your family and the loss, first of all, my condolences to
Thank
you and
you.
your family for that, because I'm most certain that was very difficult and still difficult to handle.
Definitely.
And so, we keep you in keep you and your family in our prayers as
Thank
you
you.
continue to go on your healing journey with that. So I
Thank
thank you, Lady T, for being here. And yes, we are definitely going to keep it 100 tonight. Okay.
you.
All right. So you get into the public health,
Yes.
um, and then what's happening?
And so again, I had this idea that I could go higher and higher and make a great impact. And, I started at Fort Meade, starting
Right.
their behavioral health and primary care there. And then I got, picked up to be the special assistant to the Surgeon General of the United States. And
Hello.
so, hell,
Hello.
so had I stayed in the Air Force, I would have never had that opportunity. So I still got to work at that level, but it just was in a different uniform, a Navy
Right.
uniform.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Let the people know. Okay. So let's break it down so everyone can understand in the language for which they are at, because a lot of the times we use terminology and titles and stuff like that, and people not quite understanding.
Yeah.
So, what was your role in layman terms when you say you were the special assistant
Uh-huh.
to the Surgeon General?
Yes.
Okay, so break it down for the peoples.
So in that role, it's like in the Navy, if they have an aide or an aide de camp. However, as a special assistant, you're way more than that. You're like a person that is helping to coordinate initiatives on a national and international level. You are helping to coordinate all of the activities of what that office does, and traveling and going to the White House. And I mean, it was just such an amazing experience, and you get to see almost behind the curtain per se, especially
Mm-hmm.
working on Capitol Hill, working, being at the White House. You see that it's like the Wizard of Oz. That's the way I could describe it.
Follow the yellow brick road, and
Yeah.
you don't know what you're gonna find.
Listen.
Oh my gosh, man, that is amazing! Absolutely amazing
Thank
at
you.
your journey. And so you retired, and I'll put that in air quotes because you're not really retired.
Right.
So you retired in what year?
I actually just retired in May 1st, and that wasn't from my own recognizance. In 2020, this was at the height of COVID, I deployed to the Navajo Nation to the most desolate area called Kayenta. And I was the lead behavioral health provider for 2 medical centers and also for the incident response team. So when you have a deployment or even a civilian deployment, you have an incident response team that is responsible for your particular role in working on that incident and coordinating all the resources. And so I had a near-death experience after I came home. And that is what catapulted me to have to retire at 20 years and 8 months. But I probably would have done 30.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. You know what? God had a different direction for you,
That's right.
and I believe that things that happen to us is not really to us, it's for us, so
Of
that way
course.
we can help and share with others
That's right.
as we continue on, because this is a lifelong journey.
It
And
is.
you just switching these different roles and then finding yourself in an extreme situation where now your path is now being realigned. I wouldn't say it is off course. It's just realigning
That's
to
right.
something else. And
Yes.
so now you are the
Now I am the founder and CEO of Blissful Life Consulting.
That's
And
right.
we provide holistic wellness solutions for individuals, groups, and corporations, government employee wellness, and to include the leadership. However, in my coaching programs, I also do the spiritual transformation coaching, which helps high achieving women go from mere success to soul fulfillment. So there are a lot of women who on the outside look very successful for what society would deem successful. So that's having all the outside things and the appearance and the look. However, they are hurting inside. They are dying inside. They do not feel like they are following their calling, and it's causing them a lot of stress. So we look at the realignment. That's a great word that you used, and helping you to align with God's destiny, with your divine assignment. And so that's what has happened to me. And that's what I help high achieving women do. So we do coaching programs. I think I have one of my clients on here. And so coaching programs, we do retreats, speaking engagements. If you want a mobile spa set up for your team or any type of team building, we provide all of those services.
Mm-hmm. Amen. To all of this.
Way
Okay.
better than what I thought it would
Look,
be.
let me tell you what, Queen. Okay. She said, Lady T said, Malaysia is a blessing as a coach. And
Yeah. Oh,
let's give
yeah.
her
So
like,
that's Toya. Toya was in my program last year. She's so
yeah.
amazing.
Oh my gosh. God has a great plan for you.
Thank
And
you.
Leslie says, absolutely. Leslie says, yes, because this is all about when you say, and let me read Dwayne. Okay, Dwayne is always here on time. All right. He will put out this information and we will read and we will acknowledge that this is something that we have to stay true to. God isn't surprised by anything. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he shall direct your paths. Amen.
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 So, I'm telling you, when I say that you were realigned because you were meant to do the work that is so needed. And when you talk about the exterior, what our exterior looks like, what we have, all these possessions. We got the car, we got the title, we got the parking lot, we got the house, we got these kids, and everything was looking great on the inside. But deep down inside, when you say they are dying, I remember when I was still in uniform and thinking, I got all the way up here. I got all the way to the end, and there is something in here that is not right. You know what I mean? It's like that purpose, the way that we are designed, what we're designed to be doing with our life. And I'm not saying that my military career was not, something that I appreciate. It was getting me here, but I didn't acknowledge some of those feelings. And so now you are creating space, you're creating events and opportunities for high performing leaders, women leaders, to come together. And we were talking about it before the show, and a little bit about, kind of how there isn't enough of these spaces, right? And then you're creating the business around this. So what have been your challenges so far? Let's take it from personal. Let's do personal first, all right? Because we were talking a little bit about it before, right? So let's talk about the challenges and how you are facing them and kind of how you're moving through those over the time that this is your transition, I would say.
Yes. Okay. So through the transition, again, it was very unexpected. It was very traumatic. I came home from deployment with a septic hip. I was admitted to Walter Reed, and after 4 days, the doctors, came and said, Captain Harrell, we can't find anything. We're sending you home now. And I was literally like feeling the ascension. I was feeling, I was feeling the transition of me going beyond. And so it was like, for being a person who's helped so many people do so many things, when I
Yeah.
came back from deployment sick, you want to send me home? And so I literally told them they could euthanize me because they had me on Dilaudid, every whatever, couple of whatever. And I was like needing it. And it didn't even help with the pain. That's how bad it was. And so, they said, well, Captain Harrell will send in the psychiatrist because you just got home. So I'm like, I'm a mental health provider. If this is a somatic symptom, send in that psychiatrist because we need to figure it out. I said, you could euthanize me because you wouldn't be able to deal with this pain. And so again, I could not be a patient. I had to be a provider, because had they transferred me to the mental health unit, I would have died. If
Mm-mm.
you didn't treat that, I had to have 3 surgeries back to back, and I've had 8 surgeries in the past 4 years, and had all these medical things, oral chemo, all the things, getting up to 254 pounds. And you
What?
tell me that, yes, and not being able to work out. And so I wanted to say that, because when we talk about challenges, I think it was important for me to do a lot of reflection
Mm.
and a lot of connecting back with God, connecting back with source, because you want to understand, like, what's going on. Because there are times when you're like, I'm not doing this. I know you said that you would give me all the resources and I could, you're going to set me up for success, but I can't do this. And so it was very important for me to understand, like, what is it that I
Mhm.
needed to know? What is it that I needed to understand? And that's an ongoing journey. It's not like, oh yeah, you got the notes and you write it down. It's
Right.
a long journey, but I think it has transformed me in a way where, before we're administering care with talk therapy,
Yep.
but that's not conducive. If you don't deal with your spiritual, relationship with God, your spiritual self, then whatever is happening is going to continue to happen over and over. I hear people, I had a terrible boss, and I get to the new job and I got another terrible boss. Or I was in that relationship and I got a new relationship and it's the same thing. Why? Or I've lost weight. I lost 100 pounds and then I gained 110. Why are we on this wheel? So that was the biggest part, was reflecting and being able to hear
Oh,
God's voice, get those visions and understand where we're going. So that was the first part, because I can't even think about doing this other stuff without that. So it's
oh
very
my
important.
goodness. Yes, I'm like, me and you are cut from the same cloth.
Yes.
So my girlfriend, my accountability partner, Chevy, she's probably in and out because she's got littles and she's got to get ready and stuff. But
Okay.
we talk a lot about spiritual, and for me, that's kind of my foundation. And it was something that was taught in our family. And my
Yeah.
dad was a deacon. He used to pray over us, and it was a lot of that. But even this morning, I went to church, and for me, it's about filling this up. Like, so
Yes.
when I am out and about and I'm pouring into other people, I like to walk in Christ-like behaviors,
Hmm.
and for me, it's very much kind, openness, considerate, understanding other people's needs and meeting people where they're at. Those types of things, if we're not grounded in that, when you say people have these, oh, I was in a relationship, I don't know what's going on with this one, or oh, I'll try to lose weight and I can't get, because but that for me is where I know a lot of the energy that they're having is not necessarily rooted in
That's right.
spiritual.
That's
So
right.
I absolutely understand and co-sign to everything you're saying. And I am so glad that God had favor over you.
Thank
He
you.
had favor and blessing over you. So
Yes.
that way you are still here to tell the story. Being septic, if anyone has ever heard of that or know of that, and because of our medical background, you can easily be gone. I mean, it takes you away like right away in an instant. And you knew your body and you were communicating and trying to get, and you got what you needed to. And so now you're moving forward. But I thank you for sharing your story in this space, especially for some of our women that are here, because we all have, again, things that have happened and that we want to shy away from and
Yeah.
not share. So we've got, so Leslie made the comment, I put it up earlier, as Black women, we are not taught to
So
learn
true.
about feelings.
It's so
So we
true.
don't know what we don't know. And so that is so important because it is a historical thing. Generations, they pass it on, of how we kind of, process
Yeah.
traumatic incidences. And then she says, operating the fruits of spirits. And then Lady T
Right.
says, yes, that's major. You take yourself wherever you go. So no matter the place you're in, if you don't clean up your energy, nothing will change.
That's right.
Absolutely. 100.
So true.
I'm telling you, we are some broken, there are a lot of broken people.
Hmm.
And it starts with self,
It
right? And
does.
so when you're talking about holding these events and coaching your women through that, like, what are some of the things that you help them through? Like, there's some tips that they can start right
Yeah.
away. What do you share with them so we can give our audience a little bit of, here's where you can start at if you're
Yeah.
in this situation?
Yeah. So I host a alignment and manifestation academy.
Mm,
And I just use those terms because, people always think about manifestation and this and that, but it's not necessarily about things.
yes.
It's about transforming yourself to live the life of your dreams, which means that you're serving your purpose. Whatever that
Yes.
purpose is, everybody doesn't have the same purpose. So what we do is we start, and a lot of people may do this, but all you got to do is start with your why. And your why is constantly potentially being redefined. The way you articulate your why now may not be exactly the same, when something else happens and you change. But I
Mhm.
think there's a constant evaluation of that. And so in my cohort, I had all business owners, and they were successful, but they were struggling, too much time working, not enough time with their children. So their why was to leave a legacy, but now you're not even, your child is here, but they don't have your presence. And
Mm.
so there were a lot of people who really took time to really think about their why. And completely 100% of the people changed the way they do business. We had one lady who business owner, entrepreneur, she shut down her brick and mortar. We had another one who decided not to launch her company right now and get more clarity on her offerings and what exactly direction she wanted to go in. You had one who had a business who rebranded her entire business. So, I mean, there were so many different things, but it's like that is the initial thing when you talk about how to get started. So if there is some question about how you're feeling and you not feeling connected to whatever you are doing now, you don't feel like, oh, I want to get up in the morning, I'm excited about it, then that's when it's time to ask yourself, let's take a step back and see what was your original why? And it could have changed.
Mhm.
It could have changed. There's people who go through medical situations that change their life, or they go through trauma, they go through whatever, and it changes. So I think it's very important to, even 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, remember what your why is and continue to reevaluate how you do business and how you're in alignment with whatever you're doing as well, to include the people you are working with, the information you are taking in, the way you are eating, all of that. that contributes to your why.
It really does. It
Yeah.
absolutely does. And I know, working through the transition, because y'all, I've been retired for 3 years almost. It may not
Woo!
seem like, Lord Jesus,
That's so
3 years.
exciting.
Yeah, like, oh Lord, here we are. And I'll tell you what, it's you constantly have to go back to the why. Why are you doing whatever? And sometimes I've got several whys, like I have to evaluate what exactly did I say that I wanted to do, not only in my personal life, but in professional life,
Yeah,
to really get back to that, because I could be chasing down the shiny penny all day.
that's
Okay.
right.
And not really even being paying attention. I got a 14-year-old son who keeps me very busy, and I got my husband of 20
Yeah,
years. And so you have to be able to really figure out what is it that you are doing. And I love the success stories. Like your clients, when they get in your space, they are changing things immediately. They're like, wait a minute, now I don't need to be doing that. I need to be over here doing this. And so I absolutely applaud your efforts. I applaud this movement that you're creating,
yeah.
especially just retiring from the Navy. You know what I mean? And so we're very close. So y'all, we live right in the DMV, and so
Yeah,
we're going to be seeing each other. You'll probably see more of us together, and y'all are going to be like, "What are they doing?"
that's right.
We gonna figure this thing out.
That's
But,
right.
so um, because that we have some of our audience that are transitioning from one season of life to the next season of
Mhm.
life, and it requires a little bit of adjustment, if you will. One of the things that I want you to really share with us is about wellness. You're like,
Mhm.
truly, what does wellness mean?
Yeah.
And, what are some takeaways that you have found, not only from your personal, but from your professional as well, like wellness for high performing women leaders who are transitioning in
Yeah.
certain modes? What is your takeaway or your thoughts on that?
Well, wellness is so many things. And I think a lot of us learned about certain areas of wellness. And so you think of your body or, your weight and things like that. But wellness, we really have specific pillars that we like to look at in wellness to ensure that they are all aligned. Because so if you're looking at your body and your health is not the way you want it, that affects how you make money, that affects your
Mm.
relationships, that affects all other areas. And so it's not just one thing we need to look at. We need to look at everything holistically. And so you're looking at your finances, you're looking at your health, you are looking at your spiritual health, you are looking at your financial health, you are looking at your relationships. So again, they should really consistently be in alignment. But I think when we're looking at the scale, sometimes things get, moved over. So we're working too much, at work. And then so we're taking away, the family time. And so again, how can we really get those back to homeostasis so that you're really in balance? And I hate to use that word balance because we may never always be in balance, but how can we adjust so that it's not going like this? It's just more of a, okay, I got to work a little longer. So my weight's been going up a little bit, but now I know, and I'm going for this other job that's remote now. So I don't have to take an hour to pick up my children or an hour to drive. So then you're moving it over again. And so that's really what we're looking at, all the key pillars of health. And so if your finances are not in alignment, then that's going to cause you to make decisions that you probably wouldn't normally make. And you
Mhm.
may feel feelings that are not conducive to your overall wellness. And
Yes.
so if we can look at all of those pillars and make sure that we're meeting all of our needs, again, being in alignment, because we could say, yeah, I want to get $1 million today, but now I'm not prepared for it. I'm eating things that I've never eaten before. I've gained all this weight, and you're not even able to even walk or be here in order to enjoy whatever that blessing you were given. So it's the same with people who have children, and you're overweight and your health is not well, and you can't spend the time you want to spend with your children or go and run with them. So it's the same thing. We just got to look at all those pillars of wellness.
Yeah. Look, again, we are talking the same language, because I share with my audience all the time the 8 dimensions of wellness. Because in the military, you know what they used to teach us? As you know, they said physical, mental, or emotional, however you want it, spiritual, and social. And they used to stop at those 4. And I'm like, wait a minute, there is way more to this wellness than just those 4 areas. So when I started to do research, I looked at are we investing our time in occupational wellness. We our job. Do we even like our job? Or are we just in here? Okay, just to pay the bills, and we are miserable the whole way through, and we're really not making a difference that we thought that we were going to make. Then there's environmental wellness, like who is around us, who is in our circles of influence. All right, are they negative or are they positive? Are they supportive, or are they dimming your light every day? So we hello.
That's the one.
That's the one. And the energy vampires, people who are just always taking you and taking from you. But the last one you talked about is financial wellness. And today at church, Pastor Jenkins, y'all, First Baptist Church of Glenarden is where I'm going.
We're the same pastor. I went through Michelle Singletary's class.
See, okay, so all right, Queen. Today he talked about financials, and I said, wait a minute, y'all. He had folks in there cutting their credit cards and putting it in a little container.
In the jar. They do that every year.
Every year, so he did it last year. He did it this year with a whole bunch of people. But it was kind of like some people are in such debt over their eyeballs because they are trying to keep up with it. Do not know why these things our screens are jumping out. It could be the 100-degree weather outside.
That's right. That's right. The weather is a little crazy right now.
All right. Okay, so Lady T said, Malaysia is always dropping gems. I love how the discussion brings awareness to how everything is connected. Yes, it's a holistic approach. It's not a one area. Let's focus on here. Because, Malaysia, I know that you've seen this. And so I'm going to bring it up here so that our audience, because I know some of our audience will resonate or, relate to this.
Okay.
When we were in these high performing leadership roles, sometimes there's a tendency for us to just focus on the one thing. Okay. Like, I'm a great orator, or speaker, right? So I'm doing the speaking. And after a while, all this other stuff that you need to be doing in the job just don't get done.
That's right.
Right. Because you just so focused on one area. This is just a small example, but I'm just trying to share with everybody that before you can go into this role or to the season, let's make sure we're doing it from a overall overarching wellness of looking into ourselves, looking at the mirror, taking an accountability, not blaming anybody else, figuring out how we are going to move forward in that. And I know there's a lot going on. There's a lot in our world that's real crazy. However, but I think when we start with us and really lean into that, then that will be, so much better for not only for us, but for the people around us. And then it's a ripple effect around the world.
Yes, ma'am. Wow. That is so good.
Yeah.
There's gems. That's some diamonds.
Yeah. We just gonna sprinkle every loud now, y'all, so y'all can just see.
Absolutely.
This is so good. I am so happy that we are on this conversation and talking these things through. All right. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the business, okay? Because I got a lot of business owners here,
Yeah.
and how did you get started in a business?
Hmm.
Like, did you have anyone prior to you retiring tell you anything about entrepreneurship?
Hmm.
What are the, let's say, top two or three things that you have learned about your business adventure? And
Yeah.
what would you tell a new business owner, as they're stepping out? Even, even those have been in business for a minute. Maybe, sometimes
Yeah.
we need a little bit of refresher.
Yeah. And you're right, because because the world is changing. It's a technological age. Now we're getting in the AI space. Like things are changing so much. And so for me, before the transition, I started my company actually in 2017. So that was before
Mm,
COVID. And so if you are within, 7 to 10 years of retirement, or transitioning from wherever you're transitioning from, then it's very important to have some sort of plan. So in the military, we used to sit with our, specialty leaders, whoever was the head of our particular specialty, AFSC, our job, our role, and we would actually develop a plan. We'd have a 5-year plan, we'd have a year annual plan, but then we had, more of a 5 and 10 year plan. And so with that, and I still was thinking that I had more time. We don't. So time is the biggest commodity that you can have. So start thinking about those things that are going to happen, within the next year, within, of course, the 90 days, but within the net 5 to 10 year mark. And so are the decisions that you're making right now conducive when you're doing the back mapping of your goals? You have to map. So if you knew you wanted to, lose this much weight in this amount of time, you got to back map and know what you need to do at each particular phase. So it's the same thing. Maybe you've been given this idea and you just want to get the URL for it. You just want the domain. You're not going to set up your website yet. You're not going to. So I think what has been helpful for me is sitting down and journaling. So after you
mhm,
have your dreams or first thing in the morning or your reflections of the evening, just write down some of the messages that you've received for that day. Maybe you met Rochelle at a breakfast conference and it's like, she says something that was so important. Let me write that down. And so
mhm,
as you start to look at those things over a course of time, you will see that you have themes.
mhm.
So again, people think, oh, I need to know today. Let me know my brand colors. Let me know my logo. Let me know. No, it's a process. And part of
Correct.
that process is even aligning yourself to what you're saying you want to do.
Look, I got a microphone over here, Malaysia. I'll just be like, whatever she said. That's what she said.
Speaking of
Okay.
microphones, look at this. I said I wanted to be a speaker. We spoke in the military all the time. I got
Yeah,
me a little thing for
I
the
love
fifth
it.
ornament. This is just stuff you put around just to, manifest it and get yourself ready. I got to work on myself. I have to be on podcasts. But it's a lot of internal work to do. We think of the outside, get the domain, register it with your state. No, there's a lot more before that.
Oh, hello. Okay. So when you talk about the manifestation, because it's absolutely true. It was for me, it was 5, 7 years before I
Mm-hmm.
retired that I discovered Slay. And Slay
Ooh.
was from one of my airmen who lost his battle with depression.
Mm.
And we were very close. And his favorite word was slay. And I took his word. I went on a deployment and I said, what can I do with this word? There's something here. Why does that keep
Wow.
resonating with me? Because he said, Chief, you slaying it. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about, but let me
Yeah.
look it up. And I saw that those were like what I've been doing up to that point in my career was exactly what the word means. And so I
Yeah.
said, let me create something in that. I have a
Oh,
sign in my office. It's a big old sign. It's behind the curtain here, but it's a pink sign. And
nice.
it was on the wall. So, when I looked at it every single day and said, what am I going to do? And you're absolutely
Yes.
right. It just manifests, it gets into your deep seated soul. I mean, it was like I was birthing something without me
Yes.
even know that I was actually birthing it. And it is in
Oh,
alignment. So
yes.
when you say that, when you say journal or put stuff around you or, get into the flow or, making it to be a reality, like, but there are steps that you need to take. This is not an overnight thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work,
A
but if
lot of
it
work.
is something that you truly want to do, you said getting up every morning and being excited about it,
Yes.
it's so important that we find the right thing or that right
Yes.
thing finds us.
That's
And it
right.
will. And it will.
That's right.
I love that. I love that whole, like kind of, the thinking and how much that goes into it before you get the URL,
Yes.
before you get the logo, before you get them colors,
Yes.
figure out exactly what it is that you're going to be doing. And
Absolutely.
I also recommend as well, dream, dabble, do. Dream, dabble, do, right? Like dream, dabble in it a little bit, figure
Yeah.
out if that's something, like go on a podcast. If you want to be a speaker, go on a podcast. If you want to be a writer, and I know
Mm-hmm.
you're an author too. So first of all,
Yeah.
what book are you we writing? See, Malaysia, like writing.
Listen, I know we met for a reason. This is so crazy because there's so many things that are in alignment, of our even our experiences till now.
Yes.
And, being able to be authentic and
Yes.
not, oh, you doing too much. Because you're in uniform and you can't really go beyond the lines and you can't wear too much makeup and you can't do all this. But it's like nobody could tell me anything right now. Nobody, no, who's gonna say what? What's your name now?
We were talking about this, y'all. Y'all, if those that were in the military, you understand, and those that support us that we were in the uniform, we
Yeah.
were talking before the show how we just giving people. All right. We don't get to pick our teammates per se. I mean, there are some things that we get to select. Like, I had my executive assistant, I
Yeah.
got to select her, But other than that, they give you a team of people and they just be like, okay, y'all. And you could have a great team, or you could have a team that you'd be like, there ain't no way this is gonna happen. This is not good, right? And now, like Lady T says, there are no limits. There
At
are
all.
no limits. All right. The cap is off. How we are showing up and being very authentic and
Yeah.
true to
Yes.
what we are feeling is how I'm moving, how I'm navigating in this world, this second phase. And
Yes.
Leslie Stewart said, I am committed to being too damn much,
Period.
period. And not letting anybody tell you that you're doing this or that.
Yeah.
And military, again, y'all, masculine and feminine energy. We were talking about that. We had to
Yeah.
carry a lot of masculine energy because
Wow.
of the environment for which we were in. And you
Mm-hmm.
couldn't be too pretty. You couldn't be
No.
too, too nice. You can be,
Yes.
I mean, and it was all this too stuff.
Yes.
And now, don't talk to me. Okay. Don't talk to me unless
That's
you
right.
are on the vision. The vision is we are helping, supporting, advocating, empowering women and
Yes.
women professionals. All right.
Yes.
And we made that clear before we came on the show. Like you said, high performing women.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because and what made you decide that? I'm just interested.
So when I went deep, and starting to do reflection of myself, what I said to myself was, throughout all of these years and what I've been through after the near death experience, what could I have needed during that time? Because at first you don't ask for help, and then you do ask for help, but you ask it from people who are not necessarily able to help you in that way that you need, right? Because you're thinking, oh, I don't want to tell anyone. I don't want anybody to know. So this person knows me, so I'm going to talk to them. But then again, they're talking about their stuff because you're the one that they always, so you don't even have the space, or they're just like, I never saw you look like this or act like this. And it's just weird. And so I think for me, I wanted to know what high achieving women would benefit from, because I am that person. What could I have needed? What could my inner child have used to navigate life a little bit differently? Maybe I did bang my head up against the wall a couple more times than I probably would have wanted to, or made decisions just because I really wanted, to continue to grow, or I wanted to continue. So while you were meeting, your ego needs and your need to be loved, or that's what you thought love was, now everything else is over on the other side, is down here. Your health is down there. You don't talk to your family that much. You avoid whatever it is. So I just basically said, I'm going to create this community called Dream Life Manifested, because when I was in deep darkness, I had to remember that glimmer of hope. And so if I knew that heaven could exist on earth,
Yep.
and you make life what you want it to be, and now through all of these traumas, I am able to do that.
Yep.
So because of that, that's like a sign of hope. Dream life manifested. Could you dream? Yes, your dream life doesn't necessarily mean things. It means your spirit. Is your spirit at peace? Now that's a long journey. Again, I'm not saying, that if somebody approached me wrong, that I'm all up there now. I can't guarantee you.
Right. I can guarantee you what's going to happen.
I can't. But what I can say is that I can continue to work on myself, to work on my higher level of consciousness, my relationship with God. And again, that's not necessarily with church, because I grew up, Seventh-day Adventist. And then when I moved in with my grandmother, and so I was doing all the rituals, but that doesn't mean you have a connection with God either, just because you go to church.
That's right.
And so that's just really the ritual part of it. Now, I'm not saying people who go to church don't, because that's not the case at all. I'm saying for me, I really did not have that true feeling and connection and spiritual, realm where I could, pray and get my answers right away. It might have taken me a longer time to know and maybe deal with things that I shouldn't have been dealing with a lot of times, especially being active duty. But now things are completely different. We talked about that. When you meet people and you have discernment and you pray, you find out right away if they're for you now, when you get that connection.
Look, and if you don't get accepted, I'm just telling you, I'm just keeping it real. All right. Right away, when you reach out and say you want to connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever the case may be, it's because I may have ran into, for whatever reason, it's just not, it did not feel right to me.
Yes.
And in this next chapter, I am making sure I'm being very intentional.
Yes.
Intentional about who I am connected to.
That's so true.
And for the reasons why I'm connected to them, because when we have a mission that is so strong and we believe in it, ain't nothing and nobody gonna step in and mess this thing up. Because in the military, y'all be in there trying, and I had to fight. Okay, I'm not gonna fight for this. All right, this is more of a, you attract and repel, or excuse me, attract the people that are meant to be in your space.
That's correct.
Right.
Yes.
And some of the folks that may have ill will about what you're doing, because they may see you in a certain way.
Yes.
They want to know what they can get from you.
Yes.
So
Yep.
you got to be careful, y'all. Be
That's
careful
so
on these
true.
streets.
That's
All right.
right.
Because you don't want nobody playing and messing with your stuff. All right.
No. Not your calling.
Not your
I
calling.
had my car broken. It's, but I'm talking about your true divine calling. It doesn't matter what you do.
Ugh,
God got it. If God got their hand on it, it doesn't matter what you do to try to hurt it. You're not going to be successful.
no.
That's it.
Oh, yes, Lady T. We keeping it 100 in here. All right. That's the
Yeah.
best way to move through life. Yes.
Hmm.
So we've been on here I knew it, Malaysia. I mean,
I
I already
know.
knew we were going to be on here for over the hour because, we were really connected at the right time
Exactly.
for the right reasons.
That's right.
And we have a lot of synergy in what we do. So, before we leave, because y'all, we could be on here all night, but I know y'all got things to do tomorrow. All right. So you got to get ready. So what are your last comments or your thoughts about legacy?
That's a
So
good question.
yeah, so I sometimes I ask my guest a question, and I'm going to ask you because I feel like you would really understand and know it for what it is.
Hmm.
At your 85th birthday party,
Yeah.
all your family, friends are gathered around you. What are they going to say about Malaysia?
That's really good. I'm glad that you opened up about legacy because I believe, a lot of people who are deeply depressed, they don't feel like they have value to the
Mm,
world. They feel like they won't have a legacy for many different reasons, or they'll have a
mm,
negative legacy. And so to me, legacy means what is the gift that you left on this earth that would transcend through generations. So it
mm,
could have been a book that you wrote. It could have been a speech that you gave. It could have been a product that you provided. It could have been people that you mentored in your community, or even helping to raise your family members. And so at my 80th birthday, I would want them to say that Malaysia was just a true champion of helping to raise the consciousness of our world. She put
mm,
that positivity and that love and that compassion that allowed other people to be brought out of places that they should not be, and they know
mm,
they should not be. And ultimately, when you help to raise that level of love and that level of spiritual consciousness, then decisions that we make and the predicaments that we're in our country and in our world, would we see them a little different?
mm,
you know so
mm,
that would be my legacy, is to leave that energy, of love, that energy to let everyone know that they're truly worthy of doing anything that they want to do, but most importantly, having the courage to do what is in alignment with their divine assignment. I think that's a lot of us live life for everyone else. You're the first
mm,
person that got your degree. You're the first person that went into the military and became a chief master sergeant. Like nobody gets that rank. Like out of the number of and women of color, nobody. And especially in the Air Force, which seems to be the least diverse service, at least from what I've seen, nobody's doing that. Now, are you staying in that situation because other people see it and it's no longer serving you? So that's what I would want people to know, is that um you are able to live in authenticity
mhm,
with your divine assignment. And other people may not see it, they may not see the vision, but God gave you that vision. They say, write the vision, make it plain. Only you can do that. No one else could see your vision. Who can see through your eyes? Unless you allow people and you're trying to tell them, but nobody can come in your head and look through your eyes.
This is so good. Y'all, I'm over here sweating. So anybody knows, like menopause and everything else that comes with that, you know what? But when something is really good, I need something to fan me out.
That's
But
right.
I'm telling you right now, y'all, what she just told y'all is so like I don't even know. When you're living in a purpose, right? And you find your calling and you're walking in that. And when you said God downloaded it to you,
Right.
not to all these other people, and they may not even know what you're doing, why you're doing it. And I'll tell you, there are days when I feel like I'm a lone ranger.
That's right.
I'm a wolf in the wilderness.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
no one else really is seeing what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. Even I have family members that be like, "You writing another book today?" Yes. You know what I mean? But it's not that it's anything that's heavy. These are things that I want to do.
Yeah.
Because it's part of what I want to leave.
Yes.
And as Lady T says, the world needs your legacy.
Yes. Thank you. The world needs your legacy. That
Your
needs
legacy.
it.
It needs it. So if any time that you're feeling in despair or low in the valley and you're like, I don't know if I can do it, you're going to hear it from me in Malaysia. We want you to continue to keep going and put one foot in front of the other, because creating a path for your own self, it's hard.
Yes.
But all right, people will see you and they will say, hey, come on and let's do this thing together. We got some things that we can get done.
That's right.
So whew.
This was so powerful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for allowing us a safe space to be able to really talk and, not necessarily bashing we're part of the solution for everything that happens in life. And you having this platform is allowing us to sow into those solutions.
Yes. I found that this was the way to really not only help me and heal me in my journey, but to heal others as they walk into wherever they're at. And so I absolutely love you being here with me today and our audience. Y'all just showing up. I had Charlene. Thank you for being here, Leslie. Thank you, Lady T. Chevy dropped in here, Dwayne. Yes, and even Leslie says, thank you, Queens, for this powerful conversation. You know what I mean? I absolutely love that y'all are here. I appreciate you too, Charlene. I mean, we are here. We're gonna be in this thing together. This is the journey of really living out our lives out loud. So as you know, y'all, okay, Lady T, both of you are amazing. Thanks so much for sharing your experiences. Have a great evening and week. You too, Queen. It's a really good conversation. And K-Ron was here too, my queen. Thank you so much for putting your name back in there, because, I'm trying to look through all these comments. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I really do appreciate your time and your presence on the virtual platform. All right, y'all. So as we know, we gonna close it up. And my last words are keep on slaying until you can't slay no more.
That's right.
And we will be back here next Sunday, y'all. It's Sunday. It's not no Saturday. It's Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have another great guest with us that's going to pour into us as well. So, Malaysia, hang on tight, and I will end us all for tonight. Good night, y'all. Love y'all, and see y'all next week.
Night.